and 2 of section A. Okay? Because I haven't said here anywhere that about the allocation of marks. When I don't say there's an allocation of marks, you have to assume they're equal. So you need to give good attention to part 2 of section A. That clear? Equal marks, equal attention. It's a 4,000 word assignment. 4,000. I haven't suggested how you divide up the word count. That is up to you. So it's 4,000 words in total, okay, for section A and section B. In total, 4,000 words. How you allocate those 4,000 words is up to you, bearing in mind that there's equal marks for each section. So if you give 3,000 words to section A and 1,000 words for section B, it's going to be hard to get decent marks. But that's up to you how you allocate them. And you submit one file. So it's section A, section B is one file. Okay? So you submit it all on one file. I'll just come to that for 1 second. Is that clear so far? Okay, so one file with your total assignment on section A and section B, and you put the word count on the front with the word count for the full assignment. Is that okay? And I do check the word count, just to let you know. And you do know by now that the word count is flexible within 10%. So plus or minus 10% of 4,000 is okay. Less than that or more than that incurs a penalty. So you do need to ensure that you stay within the word count, plus or minus 10%. Is that okay? Now, let me, so the first part, so it is based on a case study. The case study is on the VLE. It's called Leading Organizational Change. So make sure everybody gets the right one. There's the case study, Leading Organizational Change. It's on the VLE and post-class resources. Okay? There are several case studies on the VLE, so I just want to make sure you don't use the wrong one for your assignment. Your assignment one is called Leading Organizational Change. There's 3 case studies on the VLE. Professor O'Boyle will be using one tomorrow. I'm using one today. This is your assignment one. So don't get them mixed up.
Can you repeat the last part?
Which was the last part? I said don't get mixed up with the last part.
Leading organization.
The name of the case study is Leading Organizational Change. Yes. You would think it's obvious, but students in the past have done an entire assignment on the wrong case study. So I just want you to be 100%. You will get 0 marks no matter how good your assignment is if it's not on this case study. Okay?
Which one is that?
And it's in a folder called Assignment. Okay? So that's the case study, Leading Organizational Change. Okay. What's the purpose of a case study? Before I go into detail, why am I using a case study for an assignment? What am I trying to find out?
Whether something works, a theory works or not?
No, it's not what I'm trying to find out. Pardon? No, by using a case study, what am I looking for in your assignment?
Variables?
Critical analysis, yes, but that's not the reason why I choose a case study. No. What is
Variables?
a case? Okay, let's go back one step. What is a case study? Have any of you ever read a case study before or done a case study analysis? What is it?
It's a real story happens that shows.
Ah.
A real case study. It's a real stories.
Yeah, it's a study of a situation, a case, an organisation. And it gets written up in an academic manner for the purposes of study. Yeah? So we talk about theory in class, and then the case study is a real life organisation. Okay? And so by using case studies, what I'm looking for is your ability to demonstrate your understanding of the theory as it applies to practice. And that's the critical thing. Not just your understanding of theory, but how it applies in practice. And in practice, in this case, is the case study. So that's critical to remember that, because that's what will get you good marks. Okay? So you're demonstrating your understanding, of leadership theory through how well you apply it to the case study. Okay. Now, is everybody okay on that? If there's anything I'm saying that's not understandable, please ask me. Now, your question is based on the case study, leading organisational change, again, make sure you get the right one. Answer the following 2 questions. So remember, section A has 2 questions, which means you give equal attention to both. Almost every student in the past gives way more attention to the first part than the second part. And therefore you don't get as good a marks as you could get and should get. Now, so question 1, with reference to the literature on leadership. So there is telling you, I want evidence of reading. I want to see references. I want to see proper citations and a list of references at the end. So that's what my question is starting off with, reference to the literature on leadership. Told you, I want to see evidence that you have read the literature, that you understand it, and there's depth of reading there, okay? This is how you get really good marks, as opposed to just passing. So the more depth that you have read, the better will be reflected in your assignment. Now, here's the 2 key questions, and I think it was you said it. Critically explore the leadership approaches of one of the key actors in the study. So, to tell you what student where they've gone wrong in the past, there's a number of people talked about in this case study. Quite a few of them in positions of leadership. It's up to you to select which one you want to discuss. But you must only select one. If you select 2 and analyse them, you think you're doing good here, you'll lose marks. Because I can only give you marks on 1. So I'll take the first one that you talk about. So you must only select 1. Is that clear? Just 1. You can take whatever one you like, but just 1. You don't have to provide a justification or a rationale for the one that you selected. You just select 1 and away you go. Okay? So, critically explore the leadership approaches of one of the key actors in the study, in the case study. What do you think I'm looking for there? So I'm saying critically explore. What am I not looking for, first of all?
Description.
Exactly. I'm not looking for you simply to describe. Now again, let me tell you how you can learn from previous students' mistakes, because that's a good way for learning. I do not want to see a summary or an overview of leadership theory. Okay? You can assume that I know leadership theory. Okay? So I don't want you to waste a few pages, which I've seen many students do in the past, giving me a description, an overview, or whatever it is about key leadership theories. I haven't asked you to do that, so you're just wasting words. Okay? So don't give an overview of leadership theory, because that's not what I'm asking for at all. So don't fall into that trap. What I'm saying is critically explore the leadership approaches of one of the key actors. So how are you going to approach that? What does critically explore mean? It means not description. We've agreed that. So you're not just saying this is how it is. How might you critically explore? Could be strengths and weaknesses, yeah?
We need to know which kind of style they're using so we can find articles that are in favor.
Yeah, exactly. So it could be comparing, contrasting. It could be pointing out weaknesses. It could be looking at how closely the person that you chose, how closely they measure up to the theory. Because I think we were talking about yesterday, there's theory and then there's reality. So whichever person you choose in the case study, it is unlikely that you'll be able to neatly fit that person's leadership style into one theory. Okay? So you'll be looking at weaknesses, you'll be comparing, contrasting. What else might you be doing when critically exploring? Yeah, what was effective and what maybe not so effective. Again, just watch your use of language, not maybe good and bad, but what do you think was effective according to this leadership theory? What might have been less than effective? And remember, I'm not looking for your opinions here. This is really important. You might have very good opinions and very interesting views, but there is no role for your views or opinions in this one. So your answer must be based on the case study and then supported by the literature. Okay? Is that okay? You're looking a bit stunned with that one.
So again, for example, critically discuss like negative or positive.
Exactly. So you're not just saying, I think this person demonstrates this type of leadership style. Well, it's interesting that you think that, but I need to see where's your evidence, where's the rationale for that thinking. Okay? So where do you get the rationale? So let's say you're going to argue that this person is demonstrating predominantly a transactional style of leadership. So how are you going to provide the evidence of that? How would you do that?
From other articles?
Well, so first of all, you will demonstrate your understanding of transactional leadership. So what I'd suggest is you give a brief summary, not pages, but a very brief summary of transactional leadership. And then you will reference in the case study, where are there examples of this person demonstrating transactional leadership. And when you say in the case study, what I don't want to say, in the case study, she said, or he said, or he did, because that means the case study is pretty long. I've got to go searching through 20 odd pages of case study to see what you're talking about. So reference the case study exactly, clearly, like think of me reading this. So say on page 20, or even better, on the second paragraph of page 20, so-and-so does this, so-and-so has a meeting with her staff. This is demonstrating that, okay? So everything has either to be from the case study and supported by the literature. Does what you say or do, is it supported by the theory or not? Yeah? So everything has to come from the case study. I don't want to see any of your views or your opinions. It has to be evidence-based, which means where did you get this from? You either got it, the literature says this, and what's happening in the case study. Does what's happening in the case study support the theory or not? That's where you're critically exploring. Is that okay? And for your references, you absolutely need proper citation and proper referencing. I'm sure I said this many a times already, but I absolutely urge you to become familiar with a reference software like Mendeley or Cite This For Me, or whichever one you want. There's plenty and they're all very user-friendly. Because by Module 4, I will not have very much sympathy for incorrect citations or inappropriate referencing. You really need to have nailed this by now. Okay? So I want to see a proper referencing. It has to be author date. So not Vancouver. The Vancouver is the subscripts, the numbering. So it has to be author date and it has to be cited correctly. APS, good, yeah, or Harvard, whichever you like, as long as it's the author date system.
Explain what you meant by saying comparing and contrasting the leadership style.
Yeah, you could compare two theories, yeah, or compare how this person, whichever one you chose, how she behaved, how she performed, what she did in this situation. That could be a demonstration of a particular style, compared to when she did this. This looks like more transactional leadership because she did this on page 22. Yeah? So I don't want description just saying this is what she did. Absolutely, the more theory, providing there's an evidence, the stronger answers will use more than one theory. You could pick a character, one of the actors in the case study, and just apply one theory. And I've seen assignments that do that and they pass. But there's not much depth of analysis there. So if you can bring in a number of theories, it will give your assignment greater depth.
Like, I can say she has this transactional style of leadership and also the federal part of it. So I can mix 2-3 theories.
Yes, you can, but you need to provide the rationale. Where's the evidence for that? And that just prompted me, thank you for asking that question, Mohammed, because again, if you were to say that, this is an example of perhaps transactional leadership. But you know, transactional leadership is a combination of 4 big categories, and it's unlikely that one piece of behavior is going to exhibit all those categories. So again, remember I said this is your demonstrating your understanding of the theory as it applies to the case study. So if you dig down into transactional leadership a bit more, that would be even better. Yeah, because transactional